So today we are going to be taking a look at how you can boost your employee experience with Microsoft Viva Connections and Valo. And I will be handing over in just a minute to my colleague, Daniel Anderson. Daniel is a Microsoft MVP. So that's an award that you get for contributing to the broader community. And he's also the product manager at Valo. Obviously myself, you know me as the founder and CEO of Total Calibration, and the relationship between us. I just realized my slides are not going through. Sorry, guys. There we go. Daniel, it's my first webinar, so cut me a little bit of slack. All right, cool. So Daniel, Drew, and then in terms of what we're doing together, basically we're helping organizations to inspire their staff, delight their customers, and build resilience with our digital solutions. So I'm going to see if I can manage to hand this over to Daniel. And he's much more experienced running these webinars. So I'm going to change you over to the host, Daniel. Here you go.
Hello, that's me. As Drew said, my name's Daniel Anderson, product manager at Valo, and thanks for joining us today. Now, obviously, what we're going to be talking about today is a lot about employee experience and how we can really boost the employee experience at your organization and the benefits that can be had by doing that. Now, obviously, at the moment, we're going through some pretty, I guess, unprecedented changes and times and that type of thing, as we all know. But the way that people and employees, or who some people say talent, experience work has never been more important. So the ability to navigate this disruption, the transformation, and also all of this uncertainty is really important. And businesses are now starting to really appreciate the need for focusing on employee experience as opposed to what has traditionally been customer experience. Now, there's a lot of research that's been done around this topic as well. And the interesting fact here is that not a lot of business leaders are actually or believe that their organization or themselves are ready to address this big issue. But it is there, and we're seeing entire departments and roles really just dedicated to all of this employee experience. Another interesting stat here is that with the way the current work is and remote work or hybrid work probably going to be in vogue or in favor for the foreseeable future, it's really interesting to see that around about 60% of people are feeling, and you might feel it yourself, that you're feeling a little bit less connected to their team, to their company, to other people across the organization since shifting to this remote way of working. Now, as you would know also, and what businesses are now identifying as key areas, is the driving force behind any good business, or any business in general for that matter, is the people that are part of that business. Now, again, there's a lot of research that's been done over the last period of time. And one of the interesting stats here in the bottom left-hand corner is that 94% of employees say that they would actually stay at their company longer if that organization invested in their development and their learning and their career as well. Now, Drew,
Daniel,
I'll ask this question.
Are you sharing your screen? I'm not seeing it. I just wanted to double check.
I should be sharing my screen. Am I not sharing my screen?
Guys, can you just let us know if you can see Daniel's screen?
There we go. Let me reshare this for us here. So as we can see in the bottom left-hand corner there, as I alluded to, people are saying that they're going to be staying longer in companies or in their existing company if the investments around these two areas are improved. Now, Drew, you've done a little bit of research as well. And what are you seeing in that particular area from businesses that you work with?
Well, I've actually just put out a research article this week, and the research that we've done, firstly, it's showing an upward trend in the last 10 years of why people are leaving their roles, which is the number one reason is a lack of actual development or career progression. But quite interestingly, also, we noticed only 9% of people leaving their organizations are doing so for compensation and benefits, but that was the biggest surprise to me. I thought that would have been way further up the list. So yeah, that's actually quite interesting. And I think Daniel's just actually shared that article that I've just posted this week, if you want to read a little bit more about that.
Yeah, interesting. Now, also part of the overall employee experience, as they say, a lot of, and an area of that is employee engagement. And again, there for I guess the end result of having a really good employee experience and also having a engaged workforce is that it is going to generate greater profitability for the business as well. So there's a lot of positive impact that not only engagement, but also the employee experience has across an organization. Now, as I mentioned before, people or the talent in your organization are your greatest assets. All right. So I mentioned before about the customer experience. Now, that's generally been the main area of focus for a lot of organizations. And the shift is happening now more to the employee experience. All right. So the engagement, the retention, all of this type of stuff that we're talking about here is all related to the employee experience and how a user feels about working in the environment that they're working in and all the different touch points as well. Now, what really is an employee experience platform? So there's a number of different ways that this can be described. Now, this is coming directly from Microsoft here, and they explain this as a system of experiences that help organizations create thriving culture and engaged employees. So we can see there in this wheel that the employee is always at the center of any experience, and the circles around this. So we've got company resources, insights, knowledge, communities, well-being, growth and development are all key areas that make up a really good employee experience platform. And there really is 6 key elements of a great employee experience when we're talking about a platform like that. And it really is, and again, you'll notice that the employee is at the center. We've got empowerment, we've got growth, we've got purpose, focus, connection, and well-being, all really key areas that make up this employee experience. Now, Microsoft have identified this as a key area as well. And some of you may have seen recently something that's called Microsoft Viva that Microsoft has come out with. And this is what they call an employee experience platform. It's inside Microsoft Teams. So if you're using Teams, it's extending and building on top of pre-existing capabilities that Office 365 offer in a Teams first environment. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the different modules that make up Microsoft Viva. And there's 4 different modules here. So we can see we've got Connections, which focuses on culture and communications. We've got Viva Insights, which is more around the productivity and well-being. We've got Viva Topics, which is all about knowledge and expertise and accessing the knowledge at the right time so that you can find what it is that you're looking for and the knowledge that you are looking for. And also a big one here is Viva Learning. And this is all about the skilling and the growth of employees in their career development as well. Now, the topic of today is going to be more focused on Viva Connections. And as we can see there on the screen, Viva Connections is a Microsoft Teams application that helps everybody stay connected. So it makes it easy for people to contribute, and it also unites and, as Microsoft allude to, inspires the organization. So it really does help users align themselves to the company's vision, the mission, the strategic priorities as well. And it really helps foster that culture of inclusion by allowing an easy window into the organization to be able to share feedback and stay connected with other people as well. Now, I mentioned before, the 4 key areas of Microsoft Viva are really focusing on these key aspects. So culture, communications, which we're going to be focusing on today, productivity and well-being, knowledge and expertise, and skilling and growing as well. So that being said, what we're going to do now is I'm going to jump into a demo of Viva Connections so that we can have a look and see what that is all about. And this is a default installation of Microsoft Viva that we're seeing here. And hopefully we can still see my screen. Mm-hmm. Viva, as I mentioned before, a Microsoft Teams application, and we can see the Teams UI or the user interface here. I'm in the browser, but it does work on the desktop as well. So we can see on the left-hand side, the navigation rail of Microsoft Teams. And there's an app here that's called The Landing. Now, what this is the Viva Connections app that's been deployed here. And we're bringing in a single SharePoint site or an intranet or a portal, whatever the case may be, whatever it might be called in your organization. And this is where we talk about the context or the flow of work of an individual. So not needing to have to go out to another application or another tab in a browser or anything like that. We're actually bringing all of that corporate company information, the communications, the documents, all of that into Microsoft Teams, into the flow of where we are working. Now, you'll notice also here is that I've got the global navigation of this site. So when I hover over here, I've got a drop-down menu, and it allows me to navigate my way around the company or the corporate intranet. Now, what is also coming to Microsoft Viva, which isn't available or generally available right now, is a personalized dashboard that allows for a more personalized experience and display of content through, I'll call them little widgets. Okay. You'll also see on the left-hand side here, when I click on the landing icon, is another set of navigation here, but it does have a little bit of a different functionality. I can see all the other sites that are part of my organization that I have got access to. I can see my news, and I can see other information that's been targeted specifically at me. But that is basically what, at this point in time, what Viva Connections is. So we can bring in a single SharePoint site into Microsoft Teams as an application. Now, moving on a little bit from Viva Connections, and we're going to now take a look at a Valo product called Valo Connect. So similar name, I guess, but what we're going to take a look at here is how we can really boost that experience or boost that employee experience and engagement by extending on the capabilities and the functionalities that come with Viva Connections as well. Now, the vision for Valo Connect here is that we're delivering personal employee experience that really does drive communication, business collaboration, and the co-innovation inside of Microsoft Teams. So again, we're staying in Teams. As we know, the usage of Microsoft Teams has really ramped up over the last 12 to 18 months, given that everybody had the need to be working from home. We've seen a really big increase in Microsoft Teams usage over and above just meetings and chat as well. I mentioned before that we are, I guess, completing this employee experience story here. Viva Connections gets us to a point, but what you'll see shortly is that Valo Connect can then enhance that experience and actually complete that experience for not only your employees, but the company as a whole. Now, Viva Connections' vision is all around giving you a curated company branded experience and bringing all of that relevant information into a single pane of glass. And you'll see in that table below that Viva Connections allows, there are some limitations right now. So we've got one home site, or one site, let's call it. We can only have one app per tenant. So the rail in Microsoft Teams, when I clicked on the landing, that's what we call an app. So we can only have one single app per tenant. It is just a generic look and feel. It is also centrally controlled and centrally governed, and really is focused on the communications aspect. And what we'll take a look at in a minute is we can really enhance that experience by implementing something like Valo Connect. So in addition to this centrally governed model that Viva Connections provides, Valo Connect is going to give us a really personal role-based experience here to give a different aspect to the logged in user or to the employee of your organization. In addition to that, though, still enabling access to business resources, business applications, coupling with or pairing with that employee, the personalized experience there too. We can have a number of different SharePoint sites. We can have multiple different applications. So there could be different personal applications in that rail for different roles of an organization, or different roles or different functional areas. We can have better branding. We can make it look and feel like your own. It is personally adopted as well. All right. So it is a personalized experience, and it also allows for business collaboration in addition to that personal collaboration as well. One of the key aspects here of Valo Connect is Connect Me. And this is where I'm talking about personal experience. And you can see on the screen there, it's a dashboard type of experience where it is targeted at this logged in user. It gives us, with one single view and one single glance, an overview of where I am in my workday. If I'm starting out, and a lot of people are starting out their day in Microsoft Teams, it's the first application that they open up to start their workday. Now, what if we could give that experience to the user and give them a snapshot? What events have I got on? Where are the documents that I last accessed? What's the news, or what are the updates that are happening across my company? Well, with Connect Me and the dashboard experience here, we can give that to every single user in your organization, again, so they don't have to switch context. They don't have to open up another browser or open up another application. It's just going to be in that place where they're doing their work. Now, this diagram here, or this slide here, just showcases a little bit here, and I won't go into too much detail. The slide deck and the recording will be made available after this anyway for you to review. But there are a number of different differences in what Microsoft Viva Connections offers right now, and also what Valo Connect is offering at the moment too. Now, when we're speaking about more about navigation and making it easy for users or easy for people to find what they're looking for and navigate their way around information or applications or resources, it really is important that that is made as seamless as possible. So by, I guess, completing this story from connections to Valo Connect, we can help make that experience a lot easier from a navigation perspective as well. So what you'll see there on the left-hand side with Viva Connections, it is at the moment in the Teams desktop application, we've got the hub, what's called the hub site navigation as defined in SharePoint only. And it is limited to that SharePoint targeting capabilities right now. The SharePoint App Bar experience also comes into play here, and that global navigation that is made available through the SharePoint App Bar is the only App Bar experience that you will get inside of Viva Connections. And it is one navigation per tenant. Whereas with Valo Connect, we're kind of extending on that a little bit, where we can have multiple personal applications, we can have custom tab-based navigations, and we can also show and hide the overall intranet navigation, which gives you a lot more flexibility to develop and design user experiences for your users. Okay. All right. That being said, what we're going to now do is jump into a demo now that's going to combine Valo Connect, but also we're going to jump back to Viva Connections as well and show you that experience we're integrating into Viva Connections as well. So let me just bring that screen up right now. And I'm going to start with Viva Connections. So we saw before on the screen where we had the app that was called the landing. So it was this one here, and this is the default install or the default deployment of Viva Connections. All right. What we're seeing here is the Valo intranet that's been made the home site, what's called the home site of this tenant. And it's been integrated in with Viva Connections. So I'm not now showing a single site. What I'm actually showing inside Viva Connections here is my entire intranet. So I've got the global navigation, and it's a custom navigation that's been developed. We're not restricted to the home site navigation. We've actually got this custom navigation here that is available for you to customize and create an experience that is easy to use for your employees.
And also, it can be, can I just add to that, Daniel? It's also can be something that's quite targeted. I was chatting to a customer yesterday. In fact, I can see Anne-Marie's on the line. This is, affects your industry, but one of the things we're noticing is in some industries where you've got a lot of sort of remote workers, so support workers, aged care, that type of thing, a lot of those guys don't actually log on to a computer a lot, and they feel very disconnected from the company. So using a tool like this, you can actually provide a smaller, targeted, like a mini intranet around their focus and the things that they need, rather than sort of, bringing it into the all and sundry corporate intranet, which, they might not be able to relate to. So I think that's a really useful application of this tool.
Yeah, that's right. Very, very targeted experience here. So some navigation items might appear for certain people, and you're able to deliver a really personal experience to that logged in user, and only, they're going to have access to the resources or the links that they have or they need to do their role. Same thing with this dashboard here. So again, a fully targeted experience. I can target certain tiles in this case at certain groups of people so that the right things are appearing for the right people at the right time, so that they don't have to go and search and find what they're looking for. The other advantage here when we're bringing in the intranet or the Valo intranet into Viva Connections is that we kind of get a double navigation experience. So you can see here that we've got the global nav, the intranet here, but when we click on the Viva Connections icon here, and you'll notice that it's changed, you've got the ability to have your own logo and actually brand it and call it your own application as well. So in this case, it's called the 𝘠𝘬𝘶. So you can see I've got a more targeted navigation here on the left-hand side where I've brought in some different layer of navigation. So in addition to the global navigation that we see there in the intranet, we can actually have more of a targeted bespoke navigation here on the left-hand side. I've still got the sites that I'm a member of, and I've also got any news or updates that have been, again, targeted at me that I have got quick, easy access to. All right. So not only can we have that single site that's brought into Viva Connections, we can actually extend on that and complete that story and make some enhancements around that by bringing the Valo intranet into Viva Connections there. Now, moving along now to what we call Valo Connect. Now, this is a little bit different. Again, this is a Teams-based application, and you'll see in this case, it's installed or added into Microsoft Teams as a personal app. And that's what these are on the left-hand side. So you can see up the top here, it's called Valo Connect, but it might be called something else. It might be called Total Calibration Connect or Company Connect or something like that. You can name it and brand it your own. Now, what we're seeing here is a different experience. And it really is a personal experience here where it's a dashboard. And the Connect Me component of Valo Connect provides this experience. It allows me as an end user or a consumer or employee, whatever the case may be, it gives me the ability to edit this and allow me to personalize this that makes sense for me. So I might, for example, I might not want to see, and you can see on the screen here that we ship with, and once it's deployed, there's a number of widgets that are on this screen. For HR people specifically, we might be onboarding new employees. We can see here that this employee, Peter, has only completed 75% of his user profile. So he hasn't completed that onboarding task yet. But Peter can actually update his profile directly from here. It integrates with my personal calendar. So I've got my events. I've got a quick snapshot. I open up this at the start of the day. I can see I've got 3 meetings on. I can click these meetings. And what you'll see, because we're in Teams, we want to use the context of Teams. I can join this meeting directly from the dashboard. If it's a Teams meeting, you'll notice this is a Teams meeting here. And I can also extend that, and it's going to open that entire meeting then into Outlook as well. So again, integrating in with the other platforms that we've got. We've got a greeting widget here. It tells me I've got a small number of emails to go and read. I've got conversations, so my latest Teams conversations coming in here. I've got the documents that I've recently accessed, so I can get back to those quickly and easily. I've got the company news coming in here. So again, thinking about the context and the experience here, it means that the user doesn't have to go to a company intranet per se to go and actually see what's happening or get updated with things. So from a HR and a comms perspective, it really does deliver this content where the user is working. If a user tends to maybe open up the intranet as their first port of call of the day, then that content's still going to be available in the intranet, but a lot of times people are starting in Teams. So why not have that experience in Teams as well? We can also see that we've got a couple of other widgets here that make it really easy for me to add some functionality. I can add my own links here. So I might visit Google a lot, right? So I might want to have Google, instead of typing Google in the browser window, I might want to have a link here to Google. So when I open up Teams, when I open up Valo Connect, what's going to happen now is I'm going to have a link, which didn't save, I'm going to have a link here to Google. And that's going to allow me to just quickly come in here and jump into wherever I need to go. Now, this could be anything across your organization. So it might be, let's say, a third-party application, or it could be another system or a HR system or applying for leave or anything like that. So I've now got a link here. It's like your own bookmarking service or your own little dashboard. We've also got the colleagues that I work with. So I can quickly give them a call, shoot them an email, chat message, video call, whatever the case may be. There too, I can access that nice and quickly and easily. Now, the beauty about this is when I pop this dashboard into edit mode, I can actually configure these myself. So I can come in here and say, right, conversations, probably not that important to me right now. I can actually remove this widget. I don't need any admin consent here. I can actually manage this myself. So you can see now that that little widget has now disappeared. I've still got everything else. I might even want to configure these. So you can see here, I've got some configuration options. I might want to see events in my calendar 36 hours ahead. So I'm going to save that off there. It's going to change the settings. And now I'll see events that are in my calendar that are coming in the next 36 hours. So there's a lot of different capabilities here.
And it just gracefully, I'm just looking at that. The nice thing is it just gracefully, when you take out one of those tiles, repositions everything and still looks great.
It does. So the other thing here is I can configure these and the widget sizes. So you can see here, I've got different sizes of these widgets, 1, 2, or 3. If I want this a little bit smaller, what I can do here is just make this a 1-column type layout. You can see things rearrange and it brings everything in line again too. You can also add additional widgets. All right. So not only can we have the default ones that are set, we've also got a number of different default widgets or widgets that come at the moment. There are a number that are being developed at the moment. For example, if you're using Microsoft To Do, you might want to see the tasks that you've got assigned or the tasks that you've got inside of Microsoft To Do. Or you might be in a role where you're seeing or you're getting a lot of approval requests. So it could be leave approvals, it could be policies and procedures approvals or documents that you need to approve. What's coming as well is a little widget that's going to show everything that's outstanding in regards to your approvals. All right. So it really does make for, I guess, a one-stop shop to see where things are at in your particular role.
Daniel, I had a question, just you were talking about Microsoft To Do. I had a question from Catherine. She was asking, can you integrate or can we display tasks from Microsoft Planner?
Planner as well. I knew that would come up. So yes, there might well be a little widget that's coming with Planner in addition to To Do.
But not to confuse anyone, obviously we can surface planner tasks within To Do, and I'm sure you've got a video online that people can watch to demystify that one, Daniel.
You can. So Planner, To Do, kind of different use cases there as well. Planner is more around team-based operations and task management, whereas To Do is your personal. But yes, you can surface both of those, or your planner task inside To Do, correct. So that is coming. Continuingly, we're improving or adding additional capabilities and additional widgets as well. So if you do have any questions around that or any feedback around that, more than happy to take that offline as well to answer those. As an admin, so if we've got any admins in the audience here too, you do have the ability to lock these widgets as well. So you might want every single employee to have their events as a widget. So we can lock that, we can allow, which would mean that people would be able to change the configuration of that. All right. So it can be controlled from an admin point of view, as well as having that personal experience there too. Now, a good little feature here of the My Colleagues widget is that I can pin certain colleagues here too. So there might be certain colleagues that I work with a lot. I want to have quick, easy access. So I might want to pin Kate to the top of my list here. So in the My Colleagues widget, I've now got a pinned colleague. Kate's always there, and you can see it's integrated into Teams. So I can see she's available. So I can quickly give her a call, shoot her a message, jump on a video call with her as well. All right. So that's a snapshot or an overview of what's called Connect Me. So if we take a step back a little bit and think about Viva Connections there, where what that was providing was basically a single intranet or a single site into Teams. What we can see here is this is a little bit more than that. So it's extending on that capability, and we're bringing in a more personal touch as well as the communication side as well through news and announcements. You'll also notice across the top here that as part of this Valo Connect app that's in Teams, we've got a number of different navigation or tab items here. So we've just been talking about Connect Me, and that's the dashboard. But what we can also see here is that we can bring the entire intranet into Valo Connect. All right, we've got that experience here. We've got the global navigation, as we spoke about before, being targeted, being relevant, and we can navigate our way around the intranet through here too. You'll also see that we can create our intranet content through Valo Connect too. So if I need to post a news article, create a new page, an event, an FAQ, we can create, if I've got the appropriate permissions, we can create that through here as well. You'll see, we'll scroll down the page and we can interact with this. So we can see I've got an FAQ here. Here's the question, here's the answer. So we've got some FAQs, we've got the polls, but we can interact with it directly in Teams. There's a dedicated experience here too, just for news. So if we've got HR, comms, marketing, those type of users watching or in the audience now, one of the pain points that people have is that getting that message out to the entire organization, how do we do that efficiently? And how do we make sure that people are actually able to see that? So you would have seen a number of different places where company news has been surfaced. This is another experience here. So we've got a dedicated My News tab here inside of Valo Connect that shows a number of different sources of news. So I've got organizational news, typically controlled by a group of people. We've got subscribed news. So as a user, I can actually subscribe to content myself that interests me. So if I jump back onto the intranet here, I can manage my personal topic subscription. So you might be classifying and tagging your content with certain topics or categories or information about the content that you are publishing. What I can actually do here is I can actually subscribe to those topics, and through that little web part there, it's going to show that information to me. So you can see here that this user, Peter, has subscribed to information about these 3 office locations, about these 2 business areas, and about these 2 tags. So when we see this subscribe news component, that's any information that I've selected that's important to me. So you can see I've got it surfacing here on the home page of the intranet or through this experience here called My News. I've also got market news. So this is external news, RSS feeds, anything like that. We've got trending news. So this is the most commented, the most liked, the most viewed news across the company. And we've got our team news coming from our specific teams that we work with. We can also bring in other components here too. So we can start to create this experience for your employees where it really is helping them do what they need to do quickly and easily and have a really good experience there too. All right. So you can see here, I can search for particular people across an organization, first name, surname, skill set, department, and I can quickly and easily find those people. Or I might not, in larger organizations, I might not know who I'm looking for. So I might want to say, right, show me all the people that are in the management team. So I can filter that based on departments or job titles or office locations. You might have a number of different office locations. So you might want to see who is what staff members in the Berlin office, let's say, if you're lucky enough to have an office in Berlin, which we don't. So there's no one there. But you've got a number of different locations, nice and easy to see who is at those office locations. In addition to that people directory or that organizational directory there, you can also now bring in a more traditional org chart. And we can see here we've got direct reports, people who report to who, going up and down and sideways across the organization through the org chart here too. Now, those experiences that we've seen there really coming from the intranet side of things. but you can also bring in line of business apps. So here we're looking at a Power App that's been brought into Valo Connect as a tab, right? So not only are we talking about communications, but we're talking about business context and line of business processes here too. So we've got a Power App to book a meeting room, or we've got a form to process leave.
That's probably one of I think that's the most exciting thing about all of the Valo products, is that you can essentially surface any content anywhere else without having to duplicate it, or without having to have it stored in this particular site or this particular container. And that's not something you can do with the out-of-the-box tools. That just doesn't exist, does it?
No, correct. That's right. So the idea with Valo Connect is we're bringing all of those experiences into one single
You're
application
connecting them.
here. Well, goes with the name. Might have been a little bit deliberate. We're connecting those experiences into one place. Very good. Now, from an admin side, let's just have a quick look at how easy this is to actually configure. So we're in Teams. I've got permission. I'm a team owner. Teams owner, I can actually come in here and I can actually configure these tabs. All right. So we might want to add additional functionality or add tabs to this experience here. So I can actually manage this directly from within Teams too. All right. So we might want to show some documents, or we've got a document library of maybe policies and procedures. Okay. So what we might want to do is actually now bring that in. So let's pick an icon. We'll pick a document set. We'll save that. We'll add and save. So what we're now doing is we've just added a tab here, and we click on documents. And what will happen here is that document library will now come inside of Microsoft Teams. Even though that library isn't in Teams whatsoever, we can actually now bring that and connect, Drew, that document library into Microsoft Teams, and we can access all of those documents. So again, if we think about it from an employee side, I don't have to think about, do I go to the intranet? Do I go to HR? Do I go to finance? Do I go to IT? I can just come into Valo Connect here, or whatever it's called, whatever you name it and brand it, jump in here. I've got it all there for me, ready to go. Now, I'm just conscious of time. I'm going to jump out of demo mode, and I'm going to jump back into a slide deck. Very, very quickly before we open it up, and I'll hand back to you, Drew, there's a number of other features that are only, I guess, available as part of those Valo products that we bring in and we extend on that team story. Just quickly on this slide, a number of different products there that for different purposes, for different use cases that you may be interested in as well. If you are, speak to the guys there, they'll be able to help you out. Now, if we quickly now jump onto some additional, I guess, Valo-only capabilities that are extending what we've just seen. Now, where Viva Connections is that one personal app, and you can bring in that one SharePoint team, or that SharePoint communication site. What we can do with Valo Connect is in addition to what you've just seen, we can actually bring that as a Teams tab. So you can see this screenshot here. I'm inside of the Office 365 support team. I'm in the general channel, and I've got a tab that's here called Valo Connect. Now this deploys as a tab inside this channel. And you can see that it's scoped and it's specifically for this team. So if you're familiar with Teams and you're familiar with the documents and the way that documents are managed, we go to the Files tab. If you've got a number of different channels, we have to go to the Files tab of each channel. But this experience here, this search experience, is actually just one place that searches across the entire team. We've got this concept also of approved tabs. So as an admin, we can add pre-approved tabs for your team owners to be able to add. All right, so we can pre-approve those so that they can add them automatically. It might be a policies and procedures search library that you want to have an approved tab for that team owners can add quickly to their teams themselves. We can identify those with icons. So we've got that icon picker, and we can also scope these to a team's channel or to that personal app that sits in the rail there. Or we can make that available for both. And we saw the tab configuration before. how easy it is to configure those tabs. We can show and hide different elements of the pages if we're talking about SharePoint as well. So we can get rid of the navigation, we can get rid of the footer, we can get rid of the breadcrumbs and the social bar, and just really focus on the content as well. Now, obviously, with those different products, it really does integrate, and Valo Connect really does integrate seamlessly into those other products as well. All right. So as that tagline goes there, it really isn't a good experience if all of these disparate systems or different applications aren't integrated together. So that's what Valo Connect really does, right? It brings all of those different applications or systems or processes into the one place where people are working, and that's Microsoft Teams. So obviously the intranet, we've got the enterprise search that we saw before. Doesn't matter where that content lives, whether it's on the intranet, whether it's in Teams, we can provide that enterprise search in there too. We've spoke about the employee directory, really quick, really easy way, can get rid of those Excel spreadsheets, don't need to keep it up to date. It's all driven from what's called Active Directory as the user store. All the profile properties are automatically displayed there. And obviously integration in with other applications that we have in our suite of digital workplace products too. So Teamwork, Entrance, and also Valo Ideas as well for the ideation and the co-innovation across a company. Again, integrated in there with Valo Connect. I'll hand back over to you. If you've got anything more to add, any questions of me, or if there are any questions, I haven't had a look at the Q&A or the chat.
Another question from Catherine. Thank you. She was just asking what sized organizations is this suited to?
Any, basically. I mean, we see organizations as low as 10 people with utilizing specifically Intranet and Valo Connect. I mean, every organization needs, I'll call it a portal or a place to go to store all of their company related information, their documents, their forms, their processes, and even from a communication side. A lot of, Drew, I'm sure you'll notice this as well. There's still a lot of communication being done via email, that type of thing. And what we can do from a communication side is really enhance that communication in other ways and actually deliver that and disseminate that information in multiple different areas of where people are working, not just dedicated or not just specifically to intranet, to email as well. So I would say anywhere from, and you've seen yourself, anywhere from sort of 10 people right up to the 80,000 enterprise type organizations.
And just to be clear, the Valo Connect is a separate product from the Valo Intranet, although one can surface content from the other.
Correct. That's right. And there's a lot of, I guess I like to use the term frictionless access. So we want to provide the experience and access to knowledge and resources and communications, regardless of where a user is in their day. So whether without
having to go, I need to go, because some organizations are still very fixated around the departmental sort of view of things. And I've tried to explain to some of them, look, that's not how people think. They don't always think in terms of, well, I've got to go to the HR department for that. So especially the younger generations, it actually removes a lot of friction between the different intergenerational, the way that the different generations look at data and actually try to find things, I find. So yeah, it definitely helps with that.
It does indeed, yes. Okay, I'm just taking a quick look through the chat.
Oh, one other question. What happens when you created a Google link? This one's from Steve. Do external links open up inside of Teams?
No, if they're external, no, they won't.
But internal links, so within your Microsoft 365 tenancy, do?
Correct.
Great, gotcha. Okay.
If you're linking to documents or SharePoint pages or lists or libraries or things like that, then they will render inside. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you very much, Daniel. I really appreciate you taking the time to provide a little bit of education to those who've taken the time to join us today. And if you just want to flick over to that last slide, if you guys have any queries, Daniel, who's also on the line, another Daniel who works with us, you can reach out to him through one of those channels. But as I said, we'll be making the recording of this webinar. A couple of people emailed me during this saying they couldn't get on. Not sure what happened there, but we will make an email link to you so you can actually watch it later. So thank you very much for joining us, and I hope that you all have a wonderful afternoon.